welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Joyami, and this is Bug Beans. Bug Beans is the deck that if all else was equal and every deck was comparable, I would play, because I just think the play patterns are delightful. This deck does everything I want a Magic deck to do, if it can keep up with this hostile combo stompy metagame that we find ourselves in. I've been saying ever since the No Changes Ban update that I think Thoughtseize and main deck Graveyard Hate will be keys to the format, keys to unlocking decks that aren't Reanimator, Oops All Spells, and Red Stompy, if you want to play those. The combo decks are just too good at defending themselves. If you try to match them with Force of Wills and Surgical Extractions, I want to reach into their hand and see what their plan is and build a counter plan around it. Thoughtseize is very good at doing that. Nile Spellbomb in the main. Your Nile Spellbombs out there could be Soul Guide Lanterns, Endurances, like whatever it is you got. Maybe a Zenith package for Keen-Eyed Curator or something, which is a lot slower than these other cards, but you do have to address the graveyard in your main deck in the current Legacy metagame, and I've chosen Nile Spellbomb to do that. When you're in black, you get this effect for cheap, and it can draw a card in matchups where it's not that good. And then outside of that meta-specific consideration, up the Beanstalk, core of the deck. And then we have a bunch of stuff that, air quotes, costs 5, but most of it really doesn't. Murktide, Rakshas's Bargain, Murderous Gut, Lorien Revealed, Force of Will. I think last time I played Bug Beans on the channel, I was on a 3-2 split with Rakshas's Bargain and up the Beanstalk. Bargain was pretty new at the time, and I was trying it out. Pokemoki has convinced me that Beanstalk is just the better one. If we have 5 slots for this type of effect, you would rather have the proactive effect of Beanstalk than sitting back and waiting for a spot to resolve Bargain. One dress down in the deck, this is out of respect for Urza's Saga, which recently got a buff. You'll notice there's no Harbinger of the Seas in my sideboard anymore. That's a card I was playing for a while, because it no longer answers the main problem I needed it to answer, which was Urza's Saga. Now we've got dress down alongside the 3 Wastelands to try to deal with that problem out of decks that present it. I'm main decking a Barrogoyf, and that is partially because Barrogoyf is a dealer, and it's just a really good card in a bunch of matchups. But indirectly, like big picture, I added a second Thoughtseize to the main. The stock lists have 1, and I still have a 3rd in the sideboard. That's a lot of life loss for a deck that generally uses its life total as a resource and then stabilizes somewhere around like 7 or 8 life. I don't want to be in a position where I have to decide, do I resolve my Up the Beanstalk on turn 2, or do I have to deal with this Dragon's Rage Channeler right now because my life total can't support taking too many hits? And I want to resolve the Beanstalk. Well, you have to use your life total early to get your engines online, then you take over late, and having 3 Thoughtseizes in a deck like that is risky. Barrogoyf is just awesome on its own and brings a big lifelink body passive life gain to the deck where I'm trying to support Thoughtseizes for the reasons of the format that were already discussed. That's where I am with my thinking and my current flex slot usage. Otherwise, this is Bug Beans. You've seen it a million times if you've watched me at all. Let's try it out, see how it hangs in the current format. I am on the play in round 1. I'm going to keep my hand. This one's a little soft to Wasteland right now, but it has Force Blue card, Beanstalk, and removal. I would feel 100% locked in if this Underground Sea was just a fetch land instead. But I have Brainstorm. It's not like I'm stuck. Cool, Prismatic Vista. I'm not getting Wastelanded. What decks play Prismatic Vista these days? A Ponder. Vista Ponder. This could be some sort of off-meta Jeskai control thing. I know there is a blue-black back to basics deck kicking around. I think streamer Be Excellent has been working on that. A Show and Tell, I guess, could play these cards. Alright, up the Beanstalk, sending it in. No respect for days. A Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm. I believe this is worth a fight to me. They've gone down 2 cards on it. Now I've gone down 2 cards on it. I'll go up a card. Wow. Alright. Force pitching a Born Oculus. So is this a Dreadnought deck then? Binoculus is a weird card to be in decks in general. Yeah, this looks like Blue-Eye Dreadnought. And that's how important Up the Beanstalk is. My opponent was willing to spend 4 cards on it. Right, Brainstorm, set me free from this terrible hand I'm looking at. Oh yeah. Fatal Push, back down, and opponent. I got another one. Dust Settles. Where are we now? Hell yeah. I can push a Dreadnought. I can force anything else. Dress down. I'm going to let that resolve. I'm not excited if my opponent plays Null Drifter here, but I can just pop off 2 Dreadnoughts. Just pop with these 2 Fatal Pushes. Brainstorm's fine. That means I'm not getting Null Drifted this turn. Even if they have Ancient Tomb. Some lists play one Lotus Petal that can come out of an Urza's Saga. Dreadnought resolves. Oh no, not 2 of them. What will I do? I love having a plan. Pop. And I'm just going to hold this Forest Blue card in my hand. Make sure I don't get got somehow. Tamiyo, interesting. This card could turn it around. Is it worth a Force of Will? I could ponder into a variety of answers. I think I just don't want this card in play. If I immediately draw a Murderous Cut, that's going to be a little embarrassing. But if I don't, I'll be happy with that exchange. Okay, I have a Mystic Sanctuary in my deck and a Hedge Maze that this Misty Rainforest could represent. Let's look for some action. Wasteland not helpful. Sheoldred's Edict might be good. I could also just hold on to the Sheoldred's Edict, cast Ponder as my shuffle here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Ponder, a Fatal Push, shuffle this, found Wasteland. I think I'd rather hold that for future Brainstorm considerations than play it out here. All right, now there's a target for Wasteland. That doesn't mean it's good. My turn. Got a Tamiyo. Tamiyo's in the chat. I will play out my Wasteland now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're more than one land away from Null Drifter Hardcast. Usually these decks play 1 or 2 Urza Saga, and I am respecting that with my Wasteland. All right, Tamiyo, getting to work. This is what she does. I'll draw a card here, and I will play out a land. I'm not going to play out this 6th land, probably. They've got 5 mana. I can Surveil here, or I can just put Force of Will in my hand. All right, looks like they're going for an emergency draw 2. They could hit Dress Down on this draw 2, and then I actually have to answer Null Drifter. All right, it looks like it has resolved. I don't think these builds... I guess we haven't seen an Ancient Tomb or a... All right, there we go. I was going to say I don't think these builds play Stifle, but I guess we don't actually know what build they are. Okay, Tamiyo's gone. 1 card left in hand. Yeah, the Torpor Orb Ancient Tomb builds are the most popular right now. Sheoldred's Edict, sacrifice a non-token creature. 1 card in hand, can't be Force of Will. It's illegal. And now I'm going to get Hedge Maze. Just looking for something that draws cards. All right, Force of Will draws cards in its own annoying kind of way. And I don't think I'm going to use this Wasteland. If they do have Ancient Tomb and jam Null Drifter out of their 2-card hand, that's a little frustrating, but it's fine. And I'm just going to be patient here. Using my Mystic Sanctuary to get back Ponder or something here when I might draw Rakshas's Bargain, I feel is reckless. I'm not under any pressure. I have Beanstalk. There we go. Right. Full-size Murktide without losing any of the important spells in my graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can hardcast Force with this land. There's a Mystic Sanctuary, a basic island, and a basic swamp, all still on the deck, and another trop. I think there's another trop. Nope. I'll buy you. That's the one. There's 3 fetchables left in the deck. Oh, wait, this didn't go full size. I must have misclicked somewhere. I had the ability to make it full size. Luckily, it doesn't change the clock. Barrow Goyf. That main deck boy. All right, attack with Murktide. I can use Mystic Sanctuary to grow Murktide. I don't think that's necessary, though. Like, if I had done it this turn, it would have been a 2-turn clock. They would be at 8 right now. But that's because they fetched. Alright, I don't think I need to play around. What if they fetch? Now at 6 mana, I should probably Wasteland them before they hardcast a Null Drifter on me. Doorkeeper Thrall resolves. I've got Fatal Push and Force of Will here. I'm going to push this thing and then go to my turn. Lion Revealed's a pretty good card. Put you to 2. I am going to Wasteland now. And I think what I want to do here is just pass with all my mana up, because if they cast a spell, I can fetch Mystic Sanctuary, put Force of Will on top of my deck, Force of Will their spell, and then draw another card. Do I care about Dress Down? It could enable some mess. Alright, I'm going to fetch from Mystic Sanctuary. Target Force of Will. Cast the Force from my hand. Draw the Force on top of my deck, which I could pitch Lori into play. If they have a Daze here, I lose my second Force of Will, because I have to shuffle to pay. But if they have a Daze here, then they're running out of ways to actually move the game forward. Cool. Just a wall of removal when it mattered. Alright, Consign to Memory counters all of their threats that their deck plays. Barrow-Goyf is a brawler. Veil of Summer is not irrelevant. We're probably going to fight over 1 or 2 really important spells over the course of the game. Nile Spellbomb can come out. I actually don't hate Thoughtseize. I don't know if I need the third, but I'm not going to cut the 2 I have. Witherbloom Command destroys Torpor Orb, but we didn't see an Ancient Tomb or a Torpor Orb, and we did see a Stifle. My own Dress Down, a little awkward. I don't think that's going to help me. The Urza Sagas that they play are really just a tutor Dreadnoughts with, because they play a bunch of their own Dress Downs. They can't make Urza Saga a big backup plan. Daze. I could see Force of Vigor, Veil of Summer, Carpet of Flowers, Fatal Push, and Narset all having reasonable claims to be in the deck here. I think I'm going to go minus a Witherbloom Command. I'm not going to add the third Thoughtseize. I think having a mix of this other stuff is better. I like Narset. I like Carpet. Can I get this Veil in here? Do I want it? I think I can live without it. This isn't about whether these cards have use or not. It's, are they better than the cards that are already in my deck? Maybe Bowmasters isn't doing a lot here if I want one more of these things. And they are a Brainstorm deck and stuff, but they're also a Dress Down deck. We saw the Thrall, so I actually want the 4th Fatal Push. Okay. This is how I got where I got. And that's customizable. If you see different things, or if you see your opponent playing a certain way, you can change how you use those slots. You just saw me with like 9 or 10 cards I would consider in 6 slots. Island Ponder hand. Opponent also has an Island Ponder hand. Busted. I did not see a Wasteland last game, and we played a pretty long game. Gonna hope they don't have them, but they might. They probably do. Maybe not 4, they might have 2 or 3. We did see Stifle, though, which is something I have to respect. Alright. I could get my basic island to just make sure I have at least that going. That makes me softer to Wasteland on future turns, but I think it's worth it here. Ooh. I am going to... So I could see 2 fresh cards by shuffle, draw, then draw for turn. Or I can take the Ponder Brainstorm, draw Ponder now, draw Brainstorm next turn, Ponder, see 3 fresh cards. I think I'm just going to shuffle this. Cool, rewarded. Got what I was looking for. Paying 1 mana next turn to see 1 extra card versus getting to see fewer cards, but I get to do it for 0 mana was my calculation there. Tammy is so annoying. I'm not ready to force it, though. Oop, Thoughtseize. I guess I'm going to fetch Bayou and go for up the Beanstalk here. Bayou, Beanstalk. This is the engine from which all good things happen. A Daze. Alright, I'm not going to spend 2 cards on it. If they had forced, I may be forced, but I don't think I want to have a Daze fight there. Sheoldred's Edict can answer Tamio whether it's a Planeswalker or a creature. I'm not in a hurry to answer that the way I would be with a Fatal Push. Oh no. They have the Daze Wasteland 1-drop game this time. Ooh, they didn't waste me though. And then I drew a land to make it look like I never cared about this, even though it mattered a lot. Alright, Thoughtseize you. Let's start punching holes. Born Oculus, Dress Down, Force of Will, and the Clue token. Alright, if I Thoughtseize Force of Will, kill Tamio, that's 5 cards in their graveyard. They could just end step Dress Down, or second main dress down, then it dies in the end step, untap with 6, but they don't have an untapped land for Oculus. I think I have to take their Force of Will. So if I take the dress down, what does that look like? Then the Dreadnought's blank, and they would have to pitch Oculus to Force of Will. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to take dress down, because that takes the Dreadnought with it. So they're cracking a clue. In response, I'm going to deal with Tamiyo. Do I want basic swamp? I don't have another Bayou, so I'm off green anyway. My green is carpet, beanstalk. That's it. Yeah, I think I will get basic swamp just to make sure I can play the cards I do have. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Tamiyo was a 2-for-1. That's pretty good. It drew a card off the clue and it got my Sheoldred's Edict out. Yeah, they've got 5 cards in the graveyard, a tapped land, and archive in hand. There's the tap land back. And they have to decide if this wasteland is worth it, because a lot of the plays that they can make from here cost 3 mana, the Oculus or dress down into Dreadnought. If there's a land on top of their deck, they can be a little aggressive here. If they find a blue card to go with that Force of Will and push the Oculus through, that's good too. All right, they did take the wasteland, and they have a Ponder. Well, that is a blue card for Force. They know the top of their deck right now, though. I know 3 of the 5 cards that they have access to right now. It'll be 6 next turn when it matters. If there's an untapped land and a blue card among them, that could be difficult. All right, Brainstorm. Let's see if I can find a Thoughtseize or something to punch a hole here. Hell yeah. Okay, well, this just got really complicated because I want this Beanstalk and this Barrowgoyf. But I also want to survive this turn cycle. All right, I'm going to put back Barrowgoyf and Beanstalk. I'll play my land and then Thoughtseize my opponent. We got the Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm. All right, so if I force this, I get to look at their hand, or I could just force the Oculus if they play it. And that would commit the land to the board and the 6 cards out of the graveyard. Okay, it looks like they're going for it, which means their hand can't be forced blue card because we know Dreadnought's one of the cards. I am going to pitch Force, leaving Consign in my hand, because that lines up against the Dreadnought that we know they have. I would love this Barrowgoyf on top of my deck, but I would love more to definitely resolve up the Beanstalk, and then make my opponent deal with that for the rest of time. Ooh, Wasteland. Opponent's been kind of struggling on mana. I'm going to punish. Tamiyo, disappointing. Good follow-up. And their hand is Dreadnought right now, but Tamiyo is really good. If I can find an answer, that would be nice. This Lorien, I think I should get Hedge Maze with this and try to move the game forward. I'm just pretty far away from actually casting that. All right, Fatal Push on top. Opponent, please don't have Brainstorm right now. I could consign the Tamiyo trigger so it doesn't flip in an emergency, which we might be in. All right, Tamiyo attacks. 1 unknown in hand and potentially access to another with the clue. All right, Fatal Push in my hand. I'm going to pass. If they crack the clue in the end step, I'll push Tamiyo in response. There it goes. Push you. You can't have Force Blue card here. You could have Brainstorm. Sweet. I feel like if I replicate Consign 4 times, I should get a Beanstalk trigger. I'm just saying. Whoever's in charge of the rules should think about that. Okay, we're back to holding pattern, and I can answer Dreadnought. Mystic Sanctuary is online if I draw another fetch land at any point. And we're just playing draw go. Whoever gets the next send lined up here. All right, Tamiyo. That's been the sub game this whole time. I've had Beanstalks, they've had Dreadnoughts, but we've been fighting over Tamiyos. Swords to Plowshares, you got it. Ponder. We got a fetch in the second main after Ponder shuffles. Born Oculus would be bad for me. All right, Null Drifter is fine. That's a Divination. I mean, Divination's pretty good on this board, but at least it's just that. Opponent's got a Wasteland now. Come on, something good. That's really good. Okay, I'm going to Wasteland their Tundra and then cast my Barrowgoyf, leaving up basic island for Consign. All right, this card is in play. It is no longer in play. That's fine. It had a moment. Oh, right off the tippity top. If I target Lorien Revealed, they can waste me and I can't play it. I think I actually have to cast Target Ponder here, even though I really want the Lorien. But I'm not willing to lock out a draw step if they just recognize that counting to 5 is all they have to do. 2 Wastelands now. They can take me off green, but I'm mostly done with green. Ponder. Bowmaster, Brainstorm, Tameo. This is a squad. Hello. Interesting. All right, I think I want the Tameo now because I want to threaten that pressure. And then I want Brainstorm next because I'm not sure if Bowmaster will be any good. I'm tapping my non-basics because I don't want to be wasted off of all mana on their turn. Oh, Hardcast Force. Yep, this is a legal play. You got me. All right, it's go time. At least 1 Dreadnought's coming my way here. I kind of hope they tap out for Null Drifter that I can counter both modes of. All right, cast this with Replicate using all of my mana because I got nothing else in hand. If they have 2 Dreadnoughts, I might be in trouble. All right, all in. They have done better than me in the Dust Settles world. I just haven't drawn anything that triggers Beanstalk. And if they've brought together 2 Dreadnoughts, I'm in trouble. If they haven't, I'm okay. Right, they do have 2 Dreadnoughts. Oh, do they have 3? Okay, it's just a Ponder. I'll take that. And this is why I put Brainstorm above the Orcish Bowmaster, because Bowmaster is just a low impact card in the matchup in general. All right, Brainstorm, just find me a Fatal Push, and we can move on with life. Narset's not what I wanted. She does dig, though. All right, put back Bowmaster, Brainstorm, play Narset, leave the black up. If they have Force of Will, I lose. Narset will at least hit Brainstorm, but I'm looking for Murderous Cut. Okay. Brainstorm in my hand. Now they have to decide if they want to spend a turn attacking Narset, or if they want to try to get me dead. Because Narset is a deep dig for an answer to Dreadnought. They are valuing Narset. But they know I have Brainstorm, which is also a deep dig. Tameo, annoying. Brainstorm, extra annoying. Alright, yeah, I would attack Narset too if this was my hand. This flip is important though, because it turns my Edict back on, though obviously them having Tameo Planeswalker is now a different type of problem. And this is a spot that Bugbeans frequently ends up in, where it's like, you just need the dam to break. Like, give me a Murderous Cut, give me a Murktide Regent, like something that will start my Bean triggering, and then we can move on with life. And I'm going to Ponder first. This is the card they didn't know about. Yikes. All right. I'll take my chances here. Don't shuffle. Play second Beanstalk, which will draw a fetch land, which I can then fetch. And I am going to fetch. Underground Sea. Brainstorm. Okay, not bad. I'll put Force of Will on top with Bowmaster under it. And I'm going to Fatal Push this Dreadnought. Okay, that pressure's off. The other pressure is running, the Tameo pressure. I'm drawing Force of Will this turn, and then Bowmaster the turn after. The decision to race for Ultimate Tameo or just grab a card. Okay, they just grabbed a Ponder out of their graveyard. I really like just cashing in your early Tameo. Like, if you get a chance in a board state like this, because what if my top card is Shieldred's Edict or Witherbloom Command, and you just have a Tameo on 6 that dies? But every cantrip matters here. That Ponder could have just changed the game. They didn't shuffle it, so they found something they wanted. It looks like an Oculus the way they're tapping. Oh, it's a Null Drifter that is not currently protected, but it could be. Do they have the Stifle? Looks like it. All right, this game's about to get really hard because we know my next 2 cards, and they don't deal with Null Drifter. All right, I'm going to pass and hope that they cast literally any spell before they wasteland me a bunch of times. Plus Tameo. Attack. The Annihilate will kill Mystic Sanctuary. I'll Force of Will literally anything. A Ponder. I don't know. Like any card. Alright. I'm going to float a black. All I have to do is change phases though, and it doesn't matter. Alright. I get to draw Bowmaster here, which is not that bad. It does give me things to annihilate, but I'm going to be out of lands pretty soon. Alright, I'll float a green. Alright, Bowmaster on the stack. They can hardcast Force of Will. Bowmaster resolves 1 to Tameo. And I'll sack Orc Army here. Alright, we're back to Murderous Cut, Shieldred's Edict being good draws. Murktide Regent, even the double cantrip, I'll take it. Harbinger of the Seas. That doesn't really mess me up too bad here. Murderous Cut. All right, Murktide Regent. I'm going to cast this, leaving up black for Murderous Cut. I have to make this bigger than their creature, which is not hard to do. I'm going all the way in. Tamiyo can buy back Swords to Plowshares here. All right, now I have blue card for Force. Come on, Beanstalks. Don't fail me now. It's fine, Murderous Cut. They're forcing pitching Dress down. That's annoying, but I will force back and take my draws. It's interesting they forced after the first Beanstalk trigger resolved because I did draw the blue card for the force on that card. Lorien revealed. There are still lands in my deck. One of them. Enough to cast this Ponder with. You're saying there's a chance. Opponent's back down to one card in hand. Tamiyo can buy back Swords to Plowshares. Days, you fucker. Alright. Well, that's a tough days. And now they have to... I guess they probably just get the plow back, deal with Murktide, and keep attacking. I'll annihilate my Bowmaster, and then cast Murktide and try to do the same thing next turn. Yeah, they got back Plow. Murktide's gone. Back to 16 life, though. Annihilate Bowmaster. Interesting the Harbinger didn't attack. Like, what am I going to do? Block? I guess if I didn't block, I would be able to kill Tamiyo. I can't afford to do that, though. Alright, Murktide. Let's do this again. 1, 2... I think I'm going to make this one just big enough to kill Null Drifter. Oh, sick. Well, there's that. We solved this problem now. I guess I will play around Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm. I don't know if they're going to have those cards, but I cut Null Drifter, and this will grow Murktide if I exile spells. And I think I've used all my Murktides, right? I pitched 1 to Force last turn. All right, this is the last Murktide. Well, let's just eat as many spells as possible. Pew, 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 pew. Bug Bean's doing its thing. Carpet of Flowers. Well, that card's hard to cast with Harbinger Seas in play. And I just used my good answer to Harbinger on something different, but I think it was necessary. I can blast Tamiyo this turn if my Murktide is still around. Oh no, not Inoculus. Don't actually have a good card here. Okay. I draw 2 Null Drifter. Resolved, so they have to have Stifle. Okay, they didn't find it. If they find Swords to Plowshares, I'm almost out of win conditions. Brazen Borrower's fine. Brainstorm, just shredding for Swords to Plowshares. They've used 2 already this game. Well, they've used more than that, but representing 2 copies in their deck. Tamiyo, and that can block, which sucks. There's 12 cards left in my deck. That's something I have to manage as well. Okay. That's interesting. Revolt is if a permanent left the battlefield under my control. That's really hard to do with Harbinger in play as well. I would prefer to kill Harbinger here, because that unlocks everything else, but I guess I will just kill all of the Tamiyos. The Seasoned Scholar's gone, because this is just Swords to Plowshares next turn. Okay, passing and hoping that they break off for a while. They did Brainstorm. If they're Brainstorm locked, I have the game won, because their next 2 draws represent 18 damage from me. Dress Down, don't love it. Dress Down does not turn off Harbinger of the Seas, as stupid as that is. That's just how the rules work. These are still islands. Wasteland. That is not a wasteland. 1 card left in hand. Please don't be Null Drifter or Phyrexian Dreadnought. In for 2. That 2 might matter a lot. Okay. The Dress Down is dying. Nice. Alright, alright. We're starting to turn it around. Remember when my opponent had a completely stable board and annihilated 2 of my lands in a row on combats and then wastelanded me twice? That was the same game as this one. Yeah! This is what I love about Bug Beans. You're just never dead. There's always a point where you can chain together some sweet cards and do some sweet stuff and draw a bunch of cards. And this game was a study in that. On to the next round. Great start. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. I'm going to keep. Starting with Ponder or Tamiyo is pretty interesting here, but I am going to start with Ponder because the land is missing. Drop Ponder. Just show me 3 lands. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, sweet. Literally what I asked for. Don't shuffle, and now the whole game plan is ahead of us, as long as the opponent doesn't kill me on turn 1, which is always possible. We've got a Flooded Strand in the chat. I think here I want to fetch Underground Sea. I don't actually need 3 lands. And Flooded Strand might not be a Wasteland strategy, and they certainly didn't Wasteland me on 1. Oh, I'm just going to get the pieces under me. Underground Sea, a blue mana, and a Daze. Alright, I think that's okay. And a Brainstorm with the floating mana. There was the option that turn to play Tamiyo and pass with Brainstorm up, or Tamiyo, aggro Brainstorm, or just hold up Bowmasters. All of those things are fine. But on the play like this, I like putting them to that test. If I was sure they were Reanimator, like if I was sure they had Entomb and Reanimator in their deck, I probably would have played Tamiyo and just had Brainstorm available to me. But I wasn't sure of that. I'm still not sure of that, even though it's looking increasingly likely. I'm just going to play Tamiyo and have the option for some other stuff to do. Undercity Sewer fetched. Dump to Basic Island. This is one of the aspects of the current format we have that is difficult to navigate and is really important to pick up. All of the cards that they've played could be in either of 2 top decks right now, and you won't know they're a Reanimator deck until Entomb is on the stack, at which point it might be too late to sculpt your hand. Like against Dimir Tempo, I love my hand and I think I'm way ahead. Against Reanimator, I could die at any moment. Dothy Voidwalker. Okay. I don't really want Brainstorm in the Void for them, so I will cast that now. Voidwalker makes me think this is Reanimator. At some point, okay, Force Pitching Brainstorm. That's cool. The slots in Reanimator are different than the slots in Tempo, and I don't think Tempo has adopted Dothy Voidwalker as a piece yet of their engine. Force of Will. I can flip Tamiyo here, who will take 2 damage on the backswing, but they just use a Force of Will on a Brainstorm to avoid Tamiyo flipping. They're clearly worried about it. And I think I am going to get my Mystic Sanctuary already, just to make sure that I have access to Force Blue card after doing all this. Plus Tamiyo. A couple things just did go into the Void. Or I guess just a fetch land did. Not too bad. If they want to trade their unblockable 3/2 for a land at this point, I accept. They fetched a land of their own. Preordain. I don't think Preordain is in Dimir Tempo either. That is a card that combo decks usually use to get their pieces together. I think we're against Reanimator, and the Bloodstained Mire might also be a telltale because the combo deck's more interested in swamps than the Tempo deck is. Just looking for these little hints might win or lose you a match in this format. Tamiyo Treading Water versus Voidwalker is great for me. And here I can stick a Barrowgoyf with Force Backup. If they kill this and it goes into the Void, it's not ideal. But if they spend a card killing it, then sack Dothy Voidwalker to put it on the stack, I could then force the Barrowgoyf. Interesting. All right. I'm going to let them have this for a turn. And I'm not going to play into Daze if I can avoid it. And I can pick off their Bowmaster with mine next turn. Beastorm. Oh, that's so tempting. I really don't want to get dazed or re-Bowmastered. I'm going to just be patient, let them have it. We're playing the long game here. Sheoldred's Edict. All right, I will respond to this now with my Bowmaster. Do I want my Swamp? No, I'll get Underground Sea. I think that should have been Bio, actually. All right, my Bowmaster. I'm doing it in this order because I'd rather not start getting pinged when I up the Beanstalk. Okay. Now I'm going to force their Daze because my Bowmaster will also beat the Edict. All right, Tamiyo will die this turn unless they want to force back out of Dothy Voidwalker There's now a Force in the Void, but that'll leave Tamiyo in play. All right, cool. Tamiyo will go to 1 this turn, and I am kind of cooked, actually. Yeah, Voidwalker's really good. Baraglyph's in the graveyard, which doesn't really matter to me. And Daze ended up being the important card. Maybe I should have just let Baraglyph die. I said all those words about not losing the Bowmaster fight to Daze, and then I lost the Bowmaster fight to Daze. I might have just messed up that turn somehow. Plus Tamiyo. I'll Thoughtseize them. Another Voidwalker, another Bowmaster. Things currently in the Void are lands. It's Bowmaster that's going to go Master. And I'm going to try to spend a turn or two treading water with Tamiyo, who does net 1 loyalty per cycle here. Kept the card on top. Hate that. Oh, Murktide. Gross. Yeah, that was a solid draw. Okay. I need to kill this Bowmaster so I can unlock everything else. Right, just attacking with Orc Army makes sense. The other one will not have any power. Alright, deck. Fatal Push off the top. Shh, not great. Okay. It's fine, though. Up the Beanstalk. Trigger. Dress down. That buys me a turn to operate through Bowmaster. Plus Tamiyo before she's dead. Dress down. Sheoldred's Edict. Might be too late. Fatal Push. Alright, I'll take that. And unfortunately, I have to fetch here if I'm killing the Bowmaster. Do I have to kill the Bowmaster? Is the question. If I put back Misty Rainforest, Sheoldred's Edict, next turn I can Fatal Push Bowmaster, Rakshas's Bargain into Sheoldred's Edict, which will not finish off Murktide, but will draw 1,000,000 cards. I think this is my best chance. I'm going to put back Misty and Bargain. I'll hide the Bargain on top of my deck. They will certainly put effort on Tamiyo this turn, which will probably save me 8 life, 7 life. If they just turn and go full face here, that's tough. Oh god. Alright, another Murktide. Well, we know what the job is anyway. 10, 13. This is 12 damage. If they just want to go face, they could put me to 1. Ooh, they left Tamiyo alive, but reduced my life total pretty poorly. Alright. Interesting sequence. Fatal Push Bowmaster. Bargain. Black, green, blue. I know the only card in their hand. My own Murktide. I don't think that's going to save me here. Yeah, if I Edict, they just leave the 10-10. Alright, the second Murktide's going to beat me here. I think if that was Dothy Voidwalker, maybe we're still not winning this game. Alright, they got me. Maybe this is just tempo. We saw... Maybe it's just tempo with Dothy Voidwalkers in it. Alright, Baraglyph, Carpet of Flowers. That game came down to that Bowmaster fight, though, and them having the Daze, and I could have just let them kill Baraglyph and avoided that whole problem. Alright, I don't really want my Daze. I don't love Force of Will in this matchup, but I want some because it's still important for Beanstalk. Nile Spellbomb affects Baraglyph's... I don't know, like, it affects Murktide. I think I have to leave this in. Fatal Push comes in, Veil of Summer. I think Endurance is good. I'm going to turn Wasteland into Island because I'm just should not be wasting them in this matchup. You can actually board out a lot of Wastelands here. It's just wrong to Wasteland them. And we're going plus Island, plus Carpet as mana sources. Yeah, I'm going to cut a Thoughtseize, but bring in Endurance and leave in Spellbomb and try to split the difference here, because I still don't have high confidence that they're not Reanimator. They could have just drawn the other half of the deck. Because we didn't see a Nethergoyf either, which is normally the smoking gun. I could play Narset in this matchup if I have another cut I'm happy with. Dress down does very little. Alright. Narset, you're in. Let's try it like this. That was close, though. If that Bargain showed up, I think a turn sooner, the cards would have been there. Alright, I'll keep. I've got mana, I've got removal. Got some basics. Ponder. I don't think I'm going to cycle this Lorien Revealed yet. I'll probably do it this turn. Just wanted to give myself a chance. Like, if I draw a land there, maybe I want Lorien for a Force, which I also just drew. I'll get a basic Island. And I think I fetch for Hedge Maze here. Won't complain about another land, especially one that casts Endurance. Alright, pass the turn. Trying to respect Daze where I can. Last game was decided by Daze. They had 2 clutch dazes on 2 clutch spells. Okay, we've played Drago for a while now. I'm going to test with a Narset. I can push Bowmaster that jumps in here. Brainstorm in response. Good call. It's not good afterwards. We're in there. I'm going to dig. I didn't cast her to not get the cards. Yeah, they're going to Bowmaster in response to the surprise of no one. Force of Will, Nile Spellbomb. I'm going to bank this Force of Will, and unfortunately, I am not in a position to play around days. Yep. That's fine, though. Narset can die. Narset will, in fact, die. I think maybe I was supposed to fetch Bayou here. If I can't play Endurance next turn, that's pretty bad. Okay, I am going to spend a Force of Will on this Voidwalker. That card messes with enough. It makes my Sheoldred's Edict worse. They force me back pitching Ponder. We got 2 cards out of it at least. Fatal Push. What's up? Right, Fatal Push Voidwalker first. I want my Void nice and packed. Oh, another Force of Will. Interesting. All right. Sheoldred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. Do you still value Voidwalker over Bowmaster, now knowing that this is your choice? You do, okay. Mystic Sanctuary, target Fatal Push. I would have preferred to target Lorien revealed after killing all their creatures this turn, but you get what you get. And this turn would not have been possible if I fetched Bayou last turn. Ugh. Man, Dauthi Voidwalker is a unit. When Modern Horizons 2 first came out, everyone was playing this card, and we were all used to it, but I think we're playing against a mere tempo that just replaced Nethergoyf with Voidwalker, which is pretty sick, actually. Right, I can play Endurance now, which does not answer Dauthi Voidwalker. Oof. Annoying. I think I'm gonna pretend Murktide doesn't exist and just let them attack me, because if I can jump the Bowmaster in combat, that gives me more live draws. That does leave me dead on board if I block Bowmaster, but I have more live draws than if I block Orc Army. Like, I get 2 rips if I block Orc Army, or I could draw Ponder if I draw Bowmaster, and I'm going to block Bowmaster. Yeah, Ponder, Brainstorm, Beanstalk, all these new hits. Come on, deck, something good. It might be. TBD. All right, removal spell, Bowmaster. They would have to draw a card. If they just play a Brainstorm or Ponder or something, I can get away with this, but they have to play into it here. Please cast Ponder, please cast Ponder, please cast Ponder. All right, they just went to combat. They found the line. All right, GG. Yeah, crushed by Dauthi Voidwalker. Sick tech. Also, I mean, Daze, obviously a very important card that came up in both of the games. Navigating Daze. I also might be rusty in Bowmaster versus Bowmaster combat because the meta's been so combo heavy lately, but I'm glad I got these reps. If I'm serious about playing this in upcoming tournaments, I need to be a master at those Bowmaster counterplays. Yeah, I think game 1, I'm just supposed to let them have my Barrogoyf, and then I can take over that game. All right, cool. Good learning, and we identified a new version of a deck that's out there.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw for round 3. I'm never going to mulligan a hand like this in the blind. Oh good, we're dead. Chrome Mox. Alright, Bogart Bog Chrome Mox. Some builds of Oops have like 1 or 2 Chrome Moxes in them, some don't. Poxwalkers is definitely Oops though. Okay, they've managed to count to 4. What a skilled Magic the Gathering player. Alright, we're going to look at the list and then concede. Their deep rules knowledge carried the day here. Alright, so I'm just going to look at what's going on in here. We got the packs, which means they don't have a creature juke. A Reanimate. Is there a Lively Dirge? There is 1 Lively Dirge. Otherwise, just the normal stuff you'd expect. Okay, cool. Is there a Thassa's Oracle in their graveyard? I should check for that. There is. Okay. I was outplayed by someone who understands the format fundamentally. Alright, Null Rod, Consigned to Memory, Veil of Summer, Endurance, Thoughtseize all come in. Things that don't matter. Fatal Push, Sheoldred's Edict, Murderous Cut. Barrowglyph's not that important either, but it is not worse than these cards. Alright, bring in these cards. Now I know what I'm up against. Is there anything that is worse than Narset in my main deck? Like, obviously my opponent doesn't draw cards, but a Dig Through Time isn't bad. If there's just some blank in my deck. I don't think Wasteland's bad, because if you stuff their early plays, they could come up with just like hit 3 land drops and then play a Balustrade Spy later. Alright, here we go. On the play, I have Thoughtseize. I guess that's going to have to be enough, I hope. Alright, I'll keep. I'll reach in there, scramble their brain up. And I think I actually want to fetch Underground Sea to do this, to try to give myself more options what to do next turn. Thoughtseize, Goblin Charbelcher, a bunch of mana. I guess I just take the Belcher. I would love to take this Agadeem's Awakening, but then they can resolve Charbelcher, and then they just have to count to 3. Alright, I'm going to take the Belcher, which also tells them that I don't have a counterspell, because if I had Force, I would just take Agadeem's Awakening and make them overcommit on soft resources. And if they just draw a Spy, they win. Right, Awakening tapped. Ponder, I'm going to look for more interaction here. Okay, sweet. That is a little bit comforting. I'll put the Force of Will in my hand, hit my land drop, and pass. I think I should cycle Lorien and cast Barrowglyph next turn and start applying pressure. Pedal. Pedal. Alright, we know one of their 2 draws here. Cabal Writ. Cabal Writ. Force of Will. I'm going to pitch, I think it's Tameo, and then cycle for Tropical Island, play Barrowglyph, get to work. Have I shown them any green cards? I could cycle for another Underground Sea, and maybe they don't know I'm Bug Beans. Does that matter? What green cards would I play if I draw them? Probably up the Beanstalk. Alright, I'm gonna take a gamble here and just pretend I am... I guess if Barrowglyph hits them, they're going to see my deck anyway. That was probably sloppy. Alright. Mistakes were made. Alright, so they have 3 mana that we know about. Narcomoeba's a blank. Attack with Barrowglyph. I'll add Murktide, and then we're just beating here. Mill. I'm going to fetch for... Oh, I just milled over my Hedge Maze. Good job, me. I guess I'll fetch for Bayou since it's the only green source left in my deck. And I'm going full hog on Murktide, even though it shrinks Barrowglyph by 1. The 2 unknown cards in their hand have to be a 4th mana and a Balustrade Spy. Okay, sweet. That helps. Regardless. Build a bunch of stuff, and I'll play Nile Spellbomb. I guess I should play Mystic Sanctuary too, in case I draw Force of Will. But they have to draw and activate Goblin Charbelcher this turn, because I have the graveyard covered. And I don't know how they get to 7 mana from 2 unknown cards. It's Lion's Eye Diamond. That's the answer. If their 3 unknown cards are single +1 mana source, Goblin Charbelcher, Lion's Eye Diamond, they're going to win. Okay, cool. Now we got to get one on the draw. I don't think anything really changes here. I could turn one of my Wastelands into Island, just side juke that, or I could just board out a Wasteland entirely if I want Narset or Barrowglyph in here. Narset's an extra blue card. I think I do want Narset, even though obviously it's slow and doesn't really impact their deck at all. I think I should go a little farther. I'm gonna cut one Wasteland outright and then change one Wasteland into the island. Having mana to cast my spells is pretty important. Like we saw that game, that Basic Swamp actually stopped me from double spelling on a turn that was an early turn. Keep. Alright, opponent, it's your turn to not keep 7. How about you just like go to 4? Let's even this out. We did it. We put the bad vibes out there. They're actually on 4. And they have no play on their first turn. I love that. I'm going to get Tameo working here. I still have double force, double blue card. And now I have a draw engine. Though I'm not dealing any damage. which if they have unlimited time to sculpt, they will beat a double Force of Will just fine. Like one Cabal Therapy makes this game really awkward for me. Felmire, I boarded out 2 of my Wastelands, that thing's pretty safe. I am not going to aggro flip Tameo. I don't think that's super important for the matchup, and I have other stuff I could do with the mana. I think I'd rather Bowmaster here than crack the clue. Start actually dealing damage. Tropical Island, cool. Attack with all my friends. Do I risk losing my double Force? No, I'm just going to crack a clue now, and in case I hit Thoughtseize or Nile Spellbomb. Beanstalk's nice. Another land. Tapped. We love tapped lands. Tameo pretty likely to flip this turn. Up the Beanstalk. We're going to have the hilarious no target Mystic Sanctuary probably. Yep. No target Mystic Sanctuary. And crack a clue. This does flip Tameo. Handful of gas. I found the one of Wasteland. That's actually sweet. Versus their slow hand. Could matter a lot. But they're back up to 6 cards with 2 mana in play already. Double Force of Will looking less reliable than it did 5 turns ago. But they still got to count to 4. 3 mana. I'm going to force this guy. And I'm going to pitch Lorien Revealed to do it. Thoughtseize, love that. Okay. One of my most important cards is here. And I could cast it twice this turn with Tameo's help. Thoughtseize you. Take. Reanimate. Tameo, get back Thoughtseize. Fetch. I'm going to get Bayou. Thoughtseize you again. Take Balustrade Spy. Their hand is the card Wear Down, which I have accidentally clicked away. It's fine. Another Beanstalk. And attack. Okay, next turn I can Wasteland them, kill their Chrome Mox with Witherbloom command, and pick my Wasteland back up. Oh my god. Alright, feels good. I think we're over the hump here. Wasteland you. And they've conceded. Cool. So the typical game 1 non-game, didn't know what I was up against, couldn't make decisions, and then we actually both kept 7, and I just had a good hand game 2, and then they mulled to 4, game 3, and we were able to get through it. Nice. This is part of the metagame. This is why I'm playing 3 Thoughtseizes. This is why I'm playing 2 Nile Spellbombs in the main, and it's a good deck to be positive against, or at least have a good plan against. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables.
I'm on the play for round 4. I'm going to keep my hand. Basically, all I want to do in Magic is keep 7, and the Bug Beans deck is really good at doing that. My plan is to fetch the Hedge Maze, but we'll see if that plan changes based on what my opponent does. Alright, so this might be Red Stompy Chalcen one. Alright, well, I guess I'm brainstorming. Basic Island, Brainstorm, 2 Wastelands, Mystic Sanctuary, Bayou can go back. This is a little awkward because I want to waste them, but I really don't want to draw these 2 lands that are on top of my deck. Alright, I'm going to fetch a Swamp, and then I'll worry about Wasteland after that. I can Murderous Cut a Broadside Bombardier or something this turn. If they play the One Ring, we're basically dead. Alright, Blood Moon. Not ideal. We can play through it. Got the basics. It does cut off a lot of the important cards in the deck, though. I would love to draw my Barrogoyf. That's now my best card. Can't play Murktide in this environment. Magus of the Moon. I'm less worried about that one. It dies to Bowmaster. Okay, I only have 1 basic island in my main deck. I'm going to cast Rochester's Bargain in their end step here, if nothing else happens. If I don't have to Murderous Cut something else first. Find the Great Creator. Well, I guess I'm going to bargain now. See if I hit Force of Will. All right, come on, deck. There we go. Beanstalk I can't cast. A bunch of cards I can't cast. Perfect. That is the point of their deck. Do I have any game plan left here? No, I'm dead. All right. This is actually one of the scarier matchups. Like, I'm more scared of this than I am of Reanimator and Oops. Island, Force of Vigor, Hydroblast. I actually like Null Rod versus them because they have all these Chrome Moxes that they play, and then One Ring is part of their endgame. Barragoy, if this is what you're here for. Nile Spellbombs out. Thoughtseize is a lot worse here than it is anywhere else. Ponder's pretty slow for this matchup. Consign to Memory has some hits here. I don't think I'm particularly interested in it. Witherbloom Command does kill Chalice of the Void and that sort of thing. And I have to have some density of green cards to pitch to Force of Vigor because there's not that many in the deck. Dress Down doesn't do a lot, but some of these decks have adopted Urza's Saga, and being able to sweep that up is kind of important. Days on the play versus Days at all is a question. I think I do want Days. I'm playing fewer Days than the stock list. Normally there's 2. I'm trying 1. Just enough to keep my opponent honest. We used to board out Mystic Sanctuary. That used to be part of the plan that Pokemoki and I came up with a couple Eternal weekends ago, but then I found myself in multiple spots where I just really needed Mystic Sanctuary to turn the corner after I'd gotten control of everything else and it wasn't in my deck. But I think I'm going to leave that in. I could cut a Wasteland. Like we saw last game, even though Wasteland probably would have been pretty sweet against them, there was also just the major issue that I didn't have time to use it. All right, I will keep this hand. It has Basic Island and Hydroblast, 2 important cards. Opponent kept 7 again. Unfair. Lotus Petal. Howl Squad Heavy. Okay, I don't actually want to use Hydroblast on this, but I'm also likely to lose to it. Counter target red spell. Okay, get that out of here. Ooh, Wasteland. Well, I have a chance to be that cheesy, cheeky little fella here. I'm gonna go for it. Shatter Skull pass. Tapped. Beanstalk, let's go. They might get something big in this turn, but like if they resolve Blood Moon, I have some work to do. If they resolve Broadside Bombardier or whatever, I can cut it and draw a card. Ooh, I like this a lot. Hydroblast and Bowmaster now available. Covers most problems they might present, while getting me closer to Murktide. Oh no, is this the one problem that this doesn't cover? It is. Right, Brainstorm. Another Beanstalk. And a bunch of cards I can't use. Alright, I'm going to put Hydroblast Ponder on top. I think it's better to Brainstorm again and try to rip through these bad cantrips than it is to play Bowmaster this turn. And I got rewarded because I'm going to Beanstalk Murktide here. So this, I want the other Basic Island, just in case. And then Beanstalk, Murktide double cantrip. Okay. Still not a Force of Will among them, but Murderous Cut's very good. Murktide's just a huge body. Got another Beanstalk. Okay, they've had enough. Slugging it out. Now we got to go on the draw, where Wasteland's a lot worse. That Hydroblast play, like that same game with all the same cards we drew, I lose easily by a mile on the draw. They showed me that they have some more Goblin style stuff in here. Maybe this extra Fatal Push is worth it. Rabble Masters in general are not in the shell as commonly anymore. Those cards replaced by like Pyrogoyf, One Ring, big 4-drops that crush you. I think I'm going to go minus Days on the draw, plus an extra Fatal Push. Okay, Force blue card, access to a basic. I'll keep. This Force of Vigor is a little spooky, because if I have a green card, there's things I don't have to worry about. But if I don't, there are things that I have to decide if I'm going to worry about, or roll the dice on how quickly I'll find a green card. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I mean, this is one of those cards that I'd love to Force of Vigor, but it's not available. I'm not going to Force of Will it, though, while I'm holding a removal spell. Underground Sea. Fatal Push. Blue card? Blue card? Blue card? Bowmaster. Interesting. All right. Well, that actually plays okay versus the Fable. Yeah, I'll just drop that in and make them think about if they're going to loot any cards. All right. We have successfully stuff the first 2 chapters of Fable. Starting to run out of resources, though. Pyrogoyf. That can kill my Bowmaster, but I can kill it. Is this where I put a Force of Will when I know Blood Moon is in their deck? Alright, I think this just has to resolve. Alright, Bowmaster's dead. Lotus Petal. Okay, I mean, that's pretty good. I'm going to Wasteland Ancient Tomb and then Fatal Push Pyrogoyf. Try to get them back underwater. The Fable flips this turn, which means it's a great time to draw a green card to go with this Force of Vigor. Alright, Reflection's Awake. They got 4 cards left in hand. Chrome Mox. This is why we held the Force of Will. These are the real problems that affect our age and our generation. Bowmaster. If I attack, I obviously have another Bowmaster, but I can't not. Alright, I don't care about Reflection until there's another creature in play to reflect. Chalice on 1 is okay. Well, I'll play the card they know about. 1 to you. Now I have a 2/2 that can brawl. I could also Murderous Cut and start attacking for 3. I don't know, there are scarier cards they could play. And if I draw now a land or a green card, I can kill Reflection with a card I already have and save my cut for someone else. Battlecry Goblin, that's cool. Okay, I'm going to Murderous Cut Battlecry Goblin when they go to copy it. Okay, they're all in now. So if I'm going to do this, I should do it now. And it's great because they gave me the option. I'm going to fetch Hedge Maze and see what's going on top of my deck. Lorien Revealed. That does not help me particularly. Alright, I'm going to put that in the graveyard. It's a turn too slow. And I'm going to cut Battlecry Goblin here. If they copy it, it'll just die in the end step without doing anything. Alright, green land or green card are my rips here. Alright, I'll take it. Attack with Orc Army. And I think in the upkeep, I'm just going to rip off Force of Vigor on Reflection and Chrome Mox. Hopefully attacking their mana pays me out better than having access to 1-drops. Alright, that one I can keep punching through. Slowly but surely. They can't ignore this one forever. They're at 3. I just need them to have like 1 or 2 bad draws here. Okay, they passed without doing anything. Okay. Now I have a lethal attack because they didn't block. They need to draw a blocker for the Bowmaster. Like, they kind of had to trade there. Unless they're going to rip a 2/2 and they know it. Oh no. Alright, well that's complicated. They have to decide how they want to block though. Alright, probably the right block, begrudgingly. But this means they can't loot with Fable. Oh no, we're falling behind. They played a land. That's going to unlock the 4-drop that they drew 2 turns ago that we know they drew. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I think I'm fucked. Like, there's just nothing I could do without basics in play here. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, well, I mean, like I said, it came down to I needed them to have 2 bad draws and they only had 1. And it was only bad temporarily. And now they're ripping even more goods. I guess what I could have done is just not played the Force of Vigor. Like, what if I play up the Beanstalk instead? That puts a lot of risk in a lot of places. And their moon is Magus, not blood. Okay, there. Tormod's scripting me, just in case I somehow get 2 islands out of nowhere. I don't know where they'd come from, but they're gone. Okay, basic swamp and another Bowmaster is my out to win this game, and it has to happen very quickly. I only have 1 Bowmaster left in my deck. Alright. They got me. They got me. It came down to 1 life point right at the very end, and a clutch decision to go after the Reflection. It was more about the Chrome Mox. Like, if it was just Reflection, I could have waited until they played a card. But they did draw a 4-drop. Like, Karn was in their hand. Interesting. Alright. Did I have a chance to fetch basics any earlier than I did? Not really. Like, I needed Underground Sea on turn 1. And then Hedge Maze is a unique card. And I don't play Basic Forest anyway. Okay, yeah. I fended off their wave, put them in a top deck war at 1 life, and they won the top deck war. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive record on the line. I will keep. Super disruptive hand. Not very good at fighting the board, though. Bloodstained Mire is probably a good sign. Ponder. Cool. Well, I'll have a window to Thoughtseize them here. The Bayou's pretty awkward because I would love to protect my Thoughtseize with Daze, which probably means I just fetch Underground Sea and do that. They did not shuffle their Ponder. Yeah, Daze is a card, like I said, I'm down one from the stock list, and I board it out basically all the time. Okay, looks like this is some sort of Grixis mid-range something or other. Like, the Badlands is very weird. I mean, Grixis Tempo does exist. I can Daze the first Bowmaster. I think I want to take Brainstorm here. Then I'll use Daze and Force of Will to fend off these Bowmasters and hope Society's still standing on the other side. Polluted Delta is here. I could just jam a Ponder, which would elicit a Bowmaster. I'm going to play my land first and then cast Ponder. I can't afford not to Ponder here. My deck's full of removal. I've got my own Bowmasters, Fatal Pushes, all these good cards. I can't be afraid to cast my spell and not find those cards to fend off their Bowmaster. Fetching Basic Island here is pretty interesting. Like, they already have an Underground Sea in play, and they're about to play a Badlands. You're not playing around Wasteland. You should probably just have good mana. Okay, sweet. Found a Fatal Push with a Force of Will under it, and then I can shuffle away the Mystic Sanctuary. I might even just shuffle away the Force of Will, honestly. I already got one of those, and it's not very good. Yeah, I might just get Hedge Maze in this end step. Hedge Maze, locked. Polluted Delta, I'm good. Don't need that. I got lands. Okay, pass the turn. Shields are up. And they're playing cat and mouse with the Bowmaster. I didn't drop it out there. Opponent's hitting some land drops too. Must be nice. Alright, I drew the Force of Will that I shuffled away. Hashtag Motobug. Rakshas's Bargain does not draw cards and is an instant. Almost the perfect card to have in this situation. Opponent has Bolt, Bowmaster, and 2 unknowns. Green, blue, black. Do they have Daze in their deck with 5 lands? Do they have Force of Will? Do they want to spend Force of Will here? Do they want to try to sneak Bowmaster in under my interaction? None of the above. Okay, Witherbloom Command kills Bowmaster and hits a land drop. I don't think I'm super worried about that, though. I'm going to take Ponder and Brainstorm. Ooh, up the Beanstalk. Now we're gaming. How do I want to position this? I could Ponder, see if that gets the Bowmaster out of their hand, and then see where we land. We both know they have this card. Alright, Bowmaster resolves. Fatal Push Bowmaster. Okay, they got 1 damage in, and they have a 1/1, which is not irrelevant on this board. Oh, Barrowglyph. I like that to turn the corner. Alright, I'm not going to shuffle, and then I am going to Lorien Revealed for another Underground Sea. Okay. Suddenly, new plan emerges, and the plan is hit them with Barrowglyph. Undercity Sewer. Kept the card. No, my Barrowglyph. They might value up the Beanstalk over Barrowglyph, but I have 2 really good cards in my hand. Thoughtseize is so good. Put that card in your deck, by the way, if you're out here trying to play Legacy. They did take Barrowglyph, and they've got a Brainstorm. Did not fetch for Mystic Sanctuary before brainstorming. I don't know if they have access to that. I'm just aware of it. If they wanted to Thoughtseize my up the Beanstalk this turn as well, they had a line to do that. This Brainstorm now means they probably don't want that Lightning Bolt around. Fetch, Ponder, shuffled the Ponder. Just the mad scramble here, trying to get ahead of this Beanstalk before it hits them. Orc Army gets a taste. I think this is Grixis Control and not Tempo or Midrange. Or, I don't know what Midrange is in this format. I don't think it's Grixis Delver. Cling to Dust. Yeah, this is Grixis Control. The James Casau special. Cling to Dust is pretty good. But it is not up the Beanstalk, that's for sure. Basic Island and then Ponder. They know about all these cards, and I don't mind them knowing about all those cards. Mystic Sanctuary, now a lot worse with Cling to Dust available. Wasteland, Ponder. I actually don't want any of these cards. I do like Tamiyo. Get in there. I've already drawn 3 cards this turn, so Brainstorm won't flip her. But when we go to my opponent's turn, it will. Cool. We're now in there. And they know I have Brainstorm. But I'm not bleeding out to the Orc Army anymore. I'll block. Alright, Tamiyo takes 1. Kolagon's command, I will respond with Brainstorm. Thoughtseize, probably not where I want to be. Wasteland, not at all where I want to be. If I have to draw one of these cards, I suppose I want it to be Thoughtseize. I'm likely to draw both, though, because they're about to buy back a Orcish Bowmaster from their graveyard that I probably have to Force of Will. Though I do have the Sheoldred's Edict in my hand. Okay, there's the Bowmaster. I have to decide if I want to interact with this with Sheoldred's Edict or with Force of Will. I think because of Beanstalk, I do like the Force of Will here, and I'm going to pitch Ponder so I have another Force for their follow-up play. If they've sandbagged that Lightning Bolt and didn't actually shuffle it away 2 turns ago, they could pick off Tamiyo here. But I didn't really want them having a 2/2 Orc army either. Alright, Tamiyo has safely plussed. And now I have the mana to Thoughtseize plus Force of Will. Thoughtseize you. 2 cards in the grip. Barrogoyf Lorien revealed. Yeah, I'll take that Lorien revealed, thank you. Barrogoyf dies to Sheoldred's Edict. Orc army is neutralized by Tamiyo. We're currently driving. Winged to Dust from the graveyard is where we are. They're just spinning the wheels over there, recognizing that nothing else is going to work. Sheoldred's Edict. I'm going to force that. I like my Planeswalker, and I don't have many choices about which one to sacrifice. I drew another answer to Barrogoyf. I could Tamiyo here. Ooh, this Spellbomb is pretty exciting. That clears the Cling to Dust. What would Tamiyo do? I could get Lorien revealed, just rip off the max, and I can push the Orc army, so I'm not worried about it. Alright. I am just going to grab Lorien revealed and rip off the max. Plus 4 cards. I hope one of them's a land. Alright, multiple lands, actually. Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Lorien revealed again. Yeah, Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Lorien revealed. And I drew a card that is even better than the Fatal Push that I was holding. Orcish Bowmaster. Right, that's handled. My shields are currently down, but I'm not worried about Barrogoyf. I have 2 answers to it in my hand. They have drawn 2 new cards since I saw their hand, and Cling to Dust can find another one right now. Stock. Sweet. Well, there's a lot of new cards. A Tamiyo. They haven't drawn any cards yet. Alright, we're in here. Lorien revealed back in the grip. I'll play my land. Fatal Push is pretty strong here. Like with Bowmaster pre-combat, even if they brainstormed air quotes save her, she's still super dead. I'm going to attack first. I'm going to fetch to make sure I don't draw the last of my fetchables before it's too late. Tropical Island in play. I'm going to cast Lorien Revealed. I can dress down a Bowmaster or Edict the Bowmaster if they have either of those things, and if they don't, they're getting roasted. Alright, Tamiyo's dead. You got her. She's already been good for like 6 cards. Another Bowmaster. I think I want to just Spellbomb them now, before Cling to Dust does anything else. Before they draw a Snapcaster Mage. Okay. I did not come up with a Force of Will on any of those cards. Whatever they do can happen this turn, but unless they have some sort of combo kill, it is not going to matter. Barrogoyf. I think there's one fetchable land left in my deck, but it's a swamp, so it's not actually fetchable by Misty Rainforest. So I won't play that. Beanstalk number 2. I do have to be careful not to deck myself, but at 11 I think we're okay. Okay, I'm going to Brainstorm. Use this last fetch land to get my last fetchable. I'm not going to cast Lorien Revealed again this game. We've revealed enough Loriens. I'm sick of looking at it, frankly. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. How many Murktides do I want to play this turn? Probably as many as I can. I'll tap my black sources to do that. Force of Will, huh? Barrogoyf does gain a bunch of life. Unless I dress it down, then it doesn't do anything. Oh, sick. Figured it out. Orcish Bowmaster. 1 to Barrogoyf. Dress down. Barrogoyf dies. Attack for 3. That was nice. That was nice. What a game. Okay. Up a game versus Grixis. Carpet, Veil, Endurance, Barrogoyf, Narset. Hydroblast is going to find some targets. I think 2 is the right number of Thoughtseize. That feels good. I can go down to 1 Nile Spellbomb. They use their graveyard a little bit. I didn't see any basics out of them, but I have seen Grixis with Blood Moon in it. I'm going to turn a Wasteland into an island. Daze, not high impact here. There are things to Fatal Push. The Tameo, the Bowmaster. It's annoying that even control decks are full of insane creatures now. Creatures are just really good these days. I think I'm going to go -1 Force. I could shave another Wasteland. They seem to have a high land count, and my goal is not to cheese them, it's to beat them on cards. Sheoldred's Edict could hit a Planeswalker, a Flip Tameo, or if they have their own Narsets. If they have a Jace, that would be sweet. The Dress Down did find a big target in Barrowgoyf, but I don't think it's for the matchup. I want at least one Hydroblast in. I don't know if I want the full boat, but they're going to have Pyroblast, plus their Bolts and Gulagon's commands. But Hydroblast does not kill Barrowgoyf or Orcish Bowmaster or Tameo. There's multiple problems to manage here. I think I'm just going to go 0 Wasteland and get 1 Hydroblast in. Do I need this much removal? 2 Edicts, Murderous Cut, 3 pushes. I think I'm going to cut the Murderous Cut and add a Hydroblast. But Cut is one of my Beanstalk triggers. Alright. Cut's back, Hydroblast is out. Alright, I got a Bowmaster. I'll keep. We can jockey over that. I've got my first 3 land drops lined up and a Barrowgoyf. We're both decks with great card advantage and great removal. And we both know that that's true of the other deck. I've got access to basic Swamp and basic Island, even if I fetch Hedge Maze here. I don't think they're going to Blood Moon me, I just want to be aware of it. Dump Nile Spellbomb. Hedge Maze, come get it. Underground Sea, I'll take land drops. I'm not too proud. Nobody's really going to play a spell for a long time. Just hitting land drops in that environment makes me comfortable to be patient. Alright, Bayou is in. I do have Brainstorm and Shuffle available with Lorien revealed. Cling to Dust, alright. They're getting to work. Nice little passive cantrip there. That's a little bit of a ways away from doing anything else. Ooh, they missed their land drop. This is where I pull ahead in this draw-go game. I have Lorien revealed to be my next land drop as well. On their next turn, if they don't play a card, then they have to go to discard. And now they've been forced into the Bowmaster subgame. Like it or not, here it is. All right. I win the mini Bowmaster fight. Or at least the first exchange, the first volley. Badlands, so they drew that this turn. I'm going to Brainstorm in response here. And hope they don't have 3 Bowmasters. If they have another Bowmaster here, I've actually cooked. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, there's 2 phases to the Bowmaster game. It's who has the first one and who has the most of them. Okay, it's just a Pyroblast. I guess I'll fire my other Brainstorm then, since we're chilling. Murderous Cut, Sheoldred's Edict. Bunch of answers to this card. I'm going to put back Brainstorm and Ponder. Okay, Bowmaster's dead. They are now ahead. I got the first good exchange. They got the second exchange. Yeah, I am going to draw Ponder, because my plan is to kill Bowmaster this turn. Sacrifice a non-token creature. And then I'm going to cycle Lorien for basic Island and play Murktide. They're brainstorming in response, that's fine. Pyroblast really good against Murktide, but Murktide pretty good against Cling to Dust. I don't have 3 islands to think about Mystic Sanctuary with, that's okay. Just chew up that graveyard before Cling to Dust can get a poke at it. I'd love to see a Force of Will here. In Pyroblast or Sheoldred's Edict, just some 1-for-1 answer is the most disappointing outcome. The most exciting outcome is, of course, I just bash them for 7 3 times and they lose. But just getting 1-for-1 here is kind of boring. But getting 1-for-1 here does clear the way for Barrowgoyf if they have to use something like Edict. Brainstorm, they're still spinning, and they were unable to shuffle the Brainstorm that they cast on my turn. So this is an awkward struggle Brainstorm. Did find the Pyroblast. Ponder, it's time for that. I can cut Bowmaster if they have one. Oh, look at this stack of cards. Awesome. And the Clutch Thoughtseize. Let's have a peek and hope that their hand can't answer Barrowgoyf. Force of Will, Kaito, Barrowgoyf, Fatal Push. Okay, the push is awkward, but does work. I don't think I can beat this Kaito. Right, I'm going to take Kaito and resolve Barrowgoyf. They can't force me, I just took their blue card. If they draw a fetch land, that's the most annoying thing that could happen. If they don't, we can play on. I can answer their Barrowgoyf regardless. And now they're incentivized to swing with their orc into my Barrogoyf, which I'm not going to block. So unless they're going to play their Barrogoyf and trade. Okay, Brainstorm looking for a solution instead. Pretty likely to hit a fetch land here. Success. Okay, so my Goyf's getting pushed. There's a good chance they shuffled away their Force of Will here. Unless they found something better than Barrogoyf to do. Like, they just hold a Force Blue card for a turn. Okay, Ponder. A Beanstalk. And an Edict. Okay. I'm going to get this Beanstalk online. If they kept Force of Will, it's for this. It looks like they either didn't keep it or are not willing to use it here. And I'm going to main phase a Bowmaster here, because if they did keep that Force, I don't want them untapping and being able to interact. And I'm just going to park my Orc Army. My 2-2, beat your 2-2 now, or trade with your 2-2. I'm behind on the damage race, and I know I have to beat a Barrogoyf at some point. And they may or may not have Force backup for it. Oh god, that was such a good card to have. Alright, well that sucks. I'm going to take some beats. That's the power of Brainstorm. Just completely changed information that I built my whole plan around. Okay, it's fine. Edict, sack a non-token creature. I could just cut this thing and start attacking. Then I got to figure out what I'm doing with Barrogoyf. I think I'm going to cut this thing. I can spend a turn jump blocking. I don't want their Force of Will to be on, though. That's so bad. Okay, I'm going to Murderous Cut and draw a card. My own Force of Will. Now I have Barrogoyf covered. We're back in business. I'm behind on life, and they have a scary card in their hand, but I'm in business. We've taken turns getting pretty good Bowmaster exchanges this game. I'm going to force the Barrogoyf. All right, we won the fight. That is fortunate. And they've not... Or no, they did shuffle immediately after the Brainstorm, so they might not even have this Force of Will in their hand anymore. Ooh. Alright. I'll put Rakshas's Bargain in my hand. And I'm going to shuffle before I use it, because I don't want those two cards I just saw. Mystic Sanctuary is online. They can't Cling to Dust here, because they don't have enough mana. What card do I want in the bank? I think I'll put Force of Will in the bank. Just cover bases that might go wrong. And then black, blue, green. I draw the Force, then I look at 4 more cards. Another Force and a Tamiyo. Give me those. Attack for 2, play Tamiyo. Starting to turn it around. Life total's pretty low, and we know they're a Lightning Bolt deck, if those cards are still in. Getting that Mystic Sanctuary through the Cling to Dust that's just sitting there felt pretty good, though. 4 mana, this is probably Cling. Yeah, just beating up my Rakshas's Bargain. If my opponent wants to spend 4 mana on at any point to draw a card, I'm okay with that, because I'm spending 0 mana to draw my cards. Is this worth a fight? I think it is. Though, if I untap with this Force, I have their next 2 things covered, because I have 5 mana. Yeah, it's not worth a fight. Hey! The scumbag top deck Tamiyo. You worked hard to deal with it, yet here as it is again. It's okay, I only play 2. Okay. I am going to spend a Force of Will here. They can force me back, if that is still the card in their hand. They have the mana. But I draw a card off this and they don't. I am pleased with this exchange. Yeah, they're left Hellbent. I get 2 cards, and I still have the 2-2 attacking. Oh, they're Clinging to Dust in response. Interesting. Are they looking for a Fatal Push? Or... Interesting. Okay, so this is not the card in their hand. Clicking away that Force of Will now. And I did find backup blue card. If I force again, I draw my second card a turn. Tamiyo still doesn't flip. Murktide's about to go bananas with Up the Beanstalk. I'm 4 minutes ahead on my clock too. All the resources are working my way. Another one. Okay, attack. I'm likely to flip Tamiyo this turn. If my Murktide draws a land right now, I'll leave up Force of Will instead. But if it doesn't, I'll just crack my clue. Ooh, okay. Interesting. And they're dead anyway. I'm just going to leave up Force of Will. Pass the turn. They are literally deceased. Price of Progress. Oh, well, that kills us both. Alright, I hope they don't have a fight back for this. I don't want to go to a draw. That would be so annoying. A terrible way to end a game. Okay, I guess they have it. I draw a card. If this... Another Force, but I think I'm out of them. Okay, so the game is a draw. We go to game 3 where I'm still up a game. That's a coward's way out. I'm just saying. I mean, it's the right play to make. It makes the match continue where otherwise it would not. But it is the coward's way out. Alright, I guess the pile of Pyroblast and the price of progress I saw necessitate the other Hydroblast. Witherbloom Command kills Bowmaster, passive life gain. I didn't see any permanents I need to kill though. Alright, I think Witherbloom's out. Let's do it. Signing up for 2 more games when you're down 4 minutes on the clock. Bold strategy. My hand's missing green, but that's okay. Things aren't going to happen fast here, as we've learned over the last 2 games. Ooh, that's really good. 1 green mana, and I am now throwing my hand around like crazy. Look at these basic lands. I'm onto your tricks now. Look at me. Green mana. Do I wait a turn? I think I might. I get to hold up Veil for a turn, fetch Hedge Maze, play around Spell Pierce. All these basics. I don't even play a basic forest. Hedge Maze it is. Brainstorm in response, go for it. I love that because it taps them out of any sort of Spell Pierce kind of thing. Hedge Maze, Orcish Bowmaster. That card's very good. I'll put it on top of my deck. Okay. A moderate little Carpet of Flowers. Are you worried about it? Looks like no. I'll make a green and play a moderate little Up the Beanstalk. Are you worried about this? Looks like no. Alright. I have Hydroblast available. Shield's otherwise down, but my engines are fully online at this point. Barrogoyf. Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. They're not winning this game on any other front. You gotta start attacking. Bargain. I am gonna make a blue here. Do I want Narset? I guess is the question. No, I don't. I'm actually gonna just decline and set up Bowmaster with Veil of Summer and Hydroblast protection going into their turn. Okay, so you attack. I Bowmaster. This is the chump parade. I'm just buying time here. That's my job. 1 to you. Chump block. And then we go to my turn. Endurance. That's interesting. Yes, make green. And now I have a creature that's bigger than Barrogoyf, because I'm going to take instant and sorcery out of the game here. Though, if I Veil of Summer something, it'll be back. Children's Edict. Well, can't Veil of Summer that one. Okay, Barrogoyf will be 2/3, but that's not a solid position to be in. My Endurance is unlikely to die. If they get Undercity Sewer and try to buff up their Barrogoyf, that's more mana I have to play with my Bargain and my Narset. I'm just trying to be careful here. They got Badlands, alright. They're more scared of Carpet than they are interested in having more access to stuff. Alright, well, 2 untargeted things in a row. That'll do it. Barrogoyf will connect here. Will it pick up? No, just a milled 3. That's not bad. I can take damage. Like, damage doesn't matter. Murktide. Alright, I'm gonna make a black and cast my Barrogoyf. Barrogoyf's also an answer to Barrogoyf. I'm happy to trade them off. I don't need mine, they need theirs. They've gotten a few good exchanges here, they gotta swing through, but I have these things churning in the background that they just don't. Force of Will into this Veil of Summer. Straight to the Shadow Realm. And I drew Fatal Push, which is uncounterable this turn. And they don't have black to push me back. I'm going to get basic Swamp to make sure I don't get cheesed out again. Bang. Okay. Now I feel very far ahead. Just hard cast Kaito. That's going to have to lock down Barrogoyf. That's stunned for a couple turns. Cannot attack. Children's Edict. That's the perfect card for this situation. I'll make black, and each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker of their choice. And then just ram Narset onto this clear board. Grab another Beanstalk. Okay. I got more cards, more mana, a bigger creature, a planeswalker, and they can't draw cards. And I'm up 4 minutes on my clock. Bolting Narset, you can draw cards again. Nile Spellbomb, that is not very good. And it's a cantrip. It will slow down this Murktide if they use it proactively. Children's Edict, sure. Just taking that thing out before I can insulate it at all. Now we got a little game of chicken going, where I've passed priority a couple times, but I don't think my opponent's going to Spellbomb me. They have not indicated that that's on their radar as something they want to do. Certainly not with the mana tapped out, so I'm just going to play a Null Drifter of my own here. The Diva Murktide. Welcome to the Murktide Nation. I am not going to bomb them because I don't care. I'd rather have Hydroblast up for a Pyroblast. They're down to 2 cards in hand. They could cantrip off Spellbomb. Pyroblast is a card that I haven't really played into yet this game. The only blue card I've cast this entire game is the Narset, which they had Lightning Bolt to cover. So it's not unlikely that they have a Pyroblast. Did not shuffle. Red Blast. Blue Blast, as Richard Garfield intended. I don't know if Garfield made Hydroblast. He definitely made Red and Blue Elemental Blast, though. Okay, I think it's time to kick the doors down. I'm going to make a green, play Rakshas's Bargain, go up 1 billion cards. I can answer Bowmaster. They're Hellbent over there. Edict, sacrifice a non-token creature. I take 1, refill my hand, blast their life away. Brainstorm and fetch land. If I fetch, I take 8 from potential back to basics. I can live with that. That's fine. The ground and pound will continue. Stock up, sure. How quaint. Look at me with my way more than stock ups that cost 2 mana instead of 3 and continue to pay me out forever. I played a non-Beanstalk version of Bant Control on the channel a little while ago, like last week. And basically the conclusion I came to is you're working too hard playing Control if you're not playing up the Beanstalk. Obviously, different play patterns, different desires of what you want out of a game of Magic are at play here, but the idea of if you want to win the most tournaments, not registering Beanstalk in your Control deck is preposterous. Okay. Do I have lethal? It's close. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 spells in my graveyard. I could cast 2 Brainstorms and the other Murktide. Thoughtseize, Misty Rainforest, Fatal Push, you're idiot. Alright, I have to exile 6 things. Oh, I could Spellbomb myself. We're fine. We're fine. Okay, I draw 3. Murktide gets 5 bigger. Do I want to Thoughtseize them for the rubs? Oh, wait. I'm at 12. Shit. I was doing the math like they're at 12. That's not how that is. Okay, I'm not gonna Spellbomb myself. Price of Progress puts me to 4, but I have Hydroblast for it. I don't think I'm gonna Thoughtseize. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I can get to 14 damage this turn. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I can get it. Alright, Thoughtseize you. Take the Price of Progress we did it, team. Fatal Push, target Murktide Regent. Got him. Hydroblast, target Murktide Regent. Got him. Spellbomb myself. +4. And attack for exactly your life total. We got the GGs. Those were GGs. They could never not be good games when two players who want to play long back and forth games of Magic like this. Like, obviously, I'm predisposed to to Control and Legacy and this style of gameplay, but I think in all games, and this is not to deride on anyone who doesn't like these play patterns, but this is what I enjoy doing the most, and being able to go back and forth and plan for the bottom 6 cards of my deck and stuff rules. And my opponent they probably have 1 Price of Progress in their deck, and game 2 they were able to build a plan around it because they're going to see basically their whole deck over the course of the game. And they were just counting my non-basics starting on turn 1 probably. And they knew exactly what their button could do. And when their life total got lower than mine, they were like, okay, now I'm playing for the draw. And that was just something they could think about for the entire game without actually having access to it. That was sweet. Okay, positive record. We lost to a Graveyard Hate forward version of Dimir Tempo and Red Stompy. The Dimir Tempo deck, I think that I misstepped with my Bowmaster and potentially misstepped around at least one of the 4 dazes they cast in our games, and tightening up that could cover a lot of ground. The Stompy player, that matchup is tough, one of the harder ones that this deck has to play against. That's been true for 2 years, 2.5 years, however long Bugs Means has existed as part of the metagame. 2 years ago at Eternal Weekend, we played Dismember in the sideboard, specifically as an answer to Magus of the Moon, and might have to return to that. Just having one thing you can do when you're under Blood Moon to get out of it is a big deal. I'd have to look at the matchup spread and decide how good Dismember is against anything else versus how good it is versus that part of the metagame. But the deck is extremely customizable for whatever you want, and something as simple as 1 Dismember in the sideboard could flip a matchup, and doing the work and figuring out the play patterns figuring out what slots you want to use. This is not a beginner deck. It's not a pick up and play deck. This is a deck for people who deeply understand everything every opponent might do. But with that in mind, I really enjoy it. This was so much fun. Joyami, thank you for the opportunity. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.